How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get into some animation. Time to get that imagination all revved up. Get into some creativity. It's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from Tom Grindberg. And if you're not familiar with his work, check right over here. He is a phenomenal comic book illustrator and artist. He's worked on Batman, Judge Dredd, Conan, I think Silver Surfer, just a ton of wonderful series, and I really like his work. I think he's got a great understanding of form and function and beautiful line work and really unique posing and a blending of kind of that over-the-top caricaturization mixed with strong anatomy and layout and composition. This one especially, it's really reminds me of Frazetta style. Really like the shading choices that he does here. Something that I think I should get into more in my work is doing a style somewhat similar to that with shaded regions. I tend to go a little more probably Bridgman-y than this, but I really like that. So something I definitely want to try out in my own work. Again, some beautiful sketches, and I will throw more stuff in the description below if you guys want to check out more of his work as well. Again, just really, he's got this nice way of keeping his work tight, but yet having looseness to it, and that's very difficult. Again, you can see some not so crispness in the lines, but I like that. I feel like it does that thing that's about readability rather than it's a whole other discussion, but why not? Just real quick, it's something I've been thinking of. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, but I've been getting more towards looser drawing as being important, because otherwise there's programs like Illustrator that are great, wonderful programs, but I feel like there's this tendency these days to try and make your work super polished, to make it look like it's almost done in Illustrator rather than being a work of art in a drawing for a drawing's sake. And that isn't to say that you shouldn't try and have clean drawing, but I think you almost need to buck the curve a little bit. Something that's kind of I've been thinking of more, in keeping your stuff looser so that you know that this is a drawing and this isn't trying to emulate, perfection or the polish of a computerized Illustrator where you get your a computer to go in and make the perfect line that you want to do the outline shape. I think there's to have a bit of that grit in there that shows that this is kind of carved or chiseled to create those forms is something that I've been thinking of. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I think this is one of those great examples here where you've got really tight lines, but there's still that little bit of grit that you can get in there. And something like this, again, great work. And I don't think that's something that you really get in a lot of inking. It's really more in the sketching phase. But I think that's something that I'm pushing towards right now. And I don't know that I'll always be there. Maybe it's just a phase that I'm going through, but I think that it's something that I'm drawn to these days. But I want to share a quote with you guys from him, and that was, always follow your dreams no matter what. I think it's a great quote and a hard one to live by. And that may seem weird. It's hard to live by your dreams, but for myself, I know, as illustrators or creatives, I'm sure you've gone through times where you have to make enough money to keep the lights on and keep food coming and just the bare necessities of life. Great song, great animation shot too. I love Mowgli and Baloo. But it might be easier to go off and do something, work for a corporation or a business that every week you're going to get a paycheck that's a certain amount. You can depend on it. You can pay your bills. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. But I think there's an importance, especially in this day and age, to develop yourself and to follow the things that you're driven to do, and not to worry as much about having the latest gadgets or the, you know, nicest cars or any of that kind of stuff. If you can live in a place where you're pursuing your dream and know that maybe one day, you know, everything will work out and everything will line itself up and you can have all those great possessions and finer things in life. But in the meantime, you know, top ramen and getting to do the things you love is, I think, for myself and hopefully for you guys too, as you guys are coming along your journey, that's a place where you can be happy with and content with and not be frustrated at all that, you know, you had chicken noodle soup for the third time this week or whatever. But let's go ahead and get into some animation. This is the Laddoo rig. It's a free rig you can grab over at Creative Crash, and I will throw a link to it in the description below. And if you're not familiar with what we'll be doing for the rest of the video, we give ourselves 48 frames, 2 seconds of animation. And I go off and I find a rig that I've never used before. It's a free resource for you guys to play around with too. And we kind of go from there. A little bit of over the shoulder, hang out with me while I animate. A little bit of instruction or guidance or kind of talking through the process with you. And overall, the main goal of these videos is to hopefully encourage you guys to go off and create your own stuff and maybe inspire you to try something new or to think about things in a different way or to just think and try and have a lifestyle of using your imagination and using your creativity whenever possible. So that being said, let's go ahead and get in here. I was thinking for this one, been having Mowgli on the mind, so there's a cool walk cycle if we have a IK-FK switch, which I think we do. So let's turn that on. From the Jungle Book. So we'll do something kind of like that. Not exactly, but where we keep the butt up in the air and kind of do more of an animalistic quadruped style walk for a human character. So if we can get the posing to work right, I think that's what I'd like to try out for today. We'll have to be aware character's got a big head and a little body, so we might not be able to get exactly what we want there, but I think we can probably push it to work that way. And now where's that other hand here? If we put that on 0 and put that at 0, hopefully we get some elbow controllers and everything here too. Yeah, there we go. And push that out again a little bit more. And let's push those forward. We just want to create a good starting pose here for our shot. And let's go ahead and chest controller here. There we go. Now it's just the neck. So let's see. I'm pretty sure I saw one here when I was looking. This is just the shoulder. Okay, what do we got here? This is the back. Okay, yeah, that'll work. So we can get a little better posing, and let's pull the neck a little less tweaked there and pull the head up and pull the hips back here. And what do we have for, do we have a way to drop the shoulder actually or not? Clavicle control. Down a little bit. Actually, let's just leave it for now. We'll get in there and have it be more of a final touch. And let's rotate those feet out a little bit. And a little bit that way as well. Just trying to get the feet to stay planted. Feels like we might have to do something funky there to get that to work. Maybe we can just keep it like that, I guess, for now. Work with that. And should we do flat planted hands? I like doing knuckles usually. Let's go ahead and do that. Knuckles. It usually gives us a little bit of room to work with our elbows and stuff there too, and our arms a little bit more. Do we have finger controllers though? It's something to think about. That's the eyes. You gotta have a finger controller, right? There we go. Hand controller. Just this guy out here. Not going to be able to get too great a hand posing just because of the way that we only get pretty much one controller for each finger rather than having a mid and a tip and all that, which is okay. We should still be able to get something. Okay, let's get that thumb. And then that should give us a little more room in the hips to pull up a little bit more. Pull back. Forward a little bit. I did kind of like having straights in those arms though, so we'll see. Maybe we'll go back to that, but I think the overall posing gives a little better silhouette if we can do it this way. So just we get a better it's easier to see that there's some spacing in here and it's not just all one clump. So let's bring that down. And do a little bit of that thumb controller is real sensitive. And I think we need to bring that down a little more. And pull the index up a little bit. Oh, sorry, 1 second here. Sorry about that. Encoding another one of yesterday's videos at the same time, so let's go ahead and pull this back there a little bit more. Bring it in. Bring that one out a little bit. I think we'll probably pull that back a little bit more down. Maybe arch. Do a little more butt here. That was kind of strange there. Let's make sure we just have nerve curves, nerve surfaces, and polygons selected so we're not moving anything we don't need to there. And this feels a little muddy, so let's see if we can't pull that back up a little bit more. Maybe we'll bring that in, tilt it just a little bit. I do want the head to kind of go Just kind of tweaking. Okay. That's an okay place to start. Again, I wish the hand controllers were a little bit more able to be manipulated, but we can go up. Let's go ahead and push that. Yeah, push that forward a little bit more. Bring that elbow down and back a little bit. Okay, I think that's be a little more ball roll here. It's a good place to start there. So let's go ahead and save our file. We are using Autodesk Maya 2014 for today's video. Definitely check out the description below if you need more information on that. And before we get started too much, let's go ahead and give ourselves a ground plane just so we give ourselves kind of a frame of reference for this shot here. And turn our grid off. Set our frame range from 0 to 48 here. Make sure, again, we just have NURB curves, NURB surfaces, and polygons selected. Select everything, go to frame 0, and we'll set our first key. Alright, now let's start building this guy. And kind of want to do a little bit different timing. So let's go 10s here. Do everything on 10, and then we'll switch it to 50 frames per. Just so it gives us a good amount there. So let's go 10 frames, bring that forward. Grab both of those actually, bring that forward. And bring the hips forward in Z. It's the knee controller that I don't like there. There we go. That feels better. And we'll set that. Set that. And then we'll grab the opposite hand and the opposite foot. Make sure we set them there. Go up 10 frames and we'll punch them in there. And again, we'll get rid of the ball roll and the toe roll there. And grab our hips, push our hips forward again. See, there's a little bit of this funkiness in the top of the head. Hope that doesn't end up affecting us too much in the future. And I'll set those there. And we'll go to 10 frames again. We'll push them forward there. Grab the hips, translate them forward again. Yeah. The hair doesn't seem to be too much of an issue when we're actually going. So that's good. It's just something that's getting a little bit of delay as we're kind of framing through, but not when we're playing it, so that's good. Then we'll go 40, and push those forward there. Again, we're just kind of building the foundation here, which is just going to be like the feet, hands, and the hips. And then once we get those polished up, we can start doing some more stuff. And we'll keep those there, and move that forward here. And get our hips forward there as well. So let's go ahead and just look at that and see if the basic idea is there. Okay, basic idea is there. So let's get our graph editor open and looking at the hips. And this isn't great. We want to make this consistent amount of movement just for the sake of today's video. Other times, if we were doing like a pause for an acting moment or because of a physical reason or something, but for this one, we're just going to do a straight, consistent amount of movement. from left to right. But if we left it as it is right now, we'd be slowing out of that first pose, then kind of going consistent for a little while, then slowing again, and then doing a big move there. And that's why you can watch, if you're just watching the hips translate here, slow, even, then a big move again. So we want to clean that up. So for that, we're just going to go ahead and delete that. And again, if we left it like this, it would slow out of that first position, have a considerable amount of movement there, and then slow into the last, which is great for some things. Some things you want a slow in and slow out of. But in this case, we just want a consistent amount of movement on the hips for what we're doing today. So as you can see, a few of these we get really too much with the foot, too much stretch there. So I'm going to go ahead and take everything we've got there and just push it forward a little bit. And this one could probably be forward a little bit more as well. What we might do is do a little bit of ball roll here, toe roll, and get that bend there. I'll zero it out there. Again, we'll go ahead and do a little ball roll and toe roll there. Let's look at it now. That feels better. And let's go into the other side with this foot. Here, we'll do a little bit of ball roll, a little bit of toe roll. Zero those out again. And it's okay to have that straight leg, but I'm just going to kind of avoid it a little bit because it's going to be a little bit too poppy, especially with a shorter amount of time. We usually try to get these in half an hour or an hour chunks of animation, so it doesn't give us a whole lot of time to address pops and everything in our animation. So gotta kind of work within those frameworks or constraints. And constraints aren't always a bad thing. A lot of times, or limitations or whatever, I consider them helpful usually because it means that you have to think more creatively, which for me is a fun thing to do. Not everybody. But I try to look at it that way. I think it's a more positive way to look at stuff as well. And I think we might actually pull the hips back just a little bit. Yeah, let's look at, I think it's this first one that's a little too far stretched, so maybe we'll pull that back a little bit. That feels a little better. Again, maybe a little bit less there. And you can see that kind of delay in that hair. I wonder what what's causing that. I'm not going to worry about too much stuff right now because we still need to add some up and down. We need to get our passing positions. We need to get our twists and all that stuff. So I'm not going to worry too much about polishing, but just stuff that's going to be kind of overall big positional issues. We kind of want to address towards the beginning. And this one, I think we could push that forward a little bit more. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at that now. Alright, overall feels fairly good start to go with. So let's go ahead and grab this hand and this foot. And again, we're just going to go in and rekey, lock down all those main keys that we had before, just in case for some reason we didn't select all the values. And now let's go ahead and lift them up here, bring them down, lift them up here again, and bring it down. And let's go ahead and grab the other side again. We just want to go ahead and go through those main keys we had before. and just hit S on our keyboard to make sure we locked in all the values before we go in here and get our passing positions started. Now right now I feel like these back steps are too high, so too dang high. Let's go ahead and scale them back a little bit more and kind of even them out a little bit. And again, we'll probably add some rotating stuff in there too, so it doesn't need to be too small, but right now they just felt like they were a little bit too big of those steps. And let's do a little bit up and down here. So let's go down there, up there, down there, down there, up. Add a little bit of bounce. Weight boom shifts here. And let's kind of even that out a little bit more. I feel like we probably went a little too high, and that's going to give us more of those pops in the elbows and the knees that we're just going to try and avoid. And again, that's a reason that I kind of approach it that way. Is just because of the kind of time restraint, where if it's more finished animation, you really want to get those straights in there so that you can help sell the weight of everything as well. Now, with something like this, we got to be careful because that hand is pretty much intersecting there. So let's go ahead and push that forward just a titch, and we'll pull that back here just a little bit. Because I pretty much like the overall spacing of everything, but I don't want to feel like he's stepping on his hand there. Okay, now that we've got that, let's do some weight shifts in the hips. So when this foot is up, let's go ahead and push the hips over the planted foot, and vice versa. Back again, and then zeroed out again. Let's go ahead and look at that. Okay, and let's do a little bit of rotate Z here. And this way, that way, and that way, and back again, and zeroed out. And let's go ahead and clean that up. Right now you can see it's not very balanced, so let's make it a bit more even. It doesn't have to be exactly even. We can have some variation in here, and that's what you want. You don't want everything to be robotic, so you want to have some variation, but you want to have a similar amount of movement from side to side. And that was pretty good for the translation there. A little bit further this side than the other side, so let's pull that back up a little bit more. Let's go ahead and see that now. And let's do a little bit of rotate Y here, so we favor the front foot that's planted. And then we'll go in and we'll offset this stuff with the chest as well. Let's bring that back over, back again. And let's see it now. Okay, and then I think this is the back controller, the main or only back controller we really have. So let's go here and rotate it. It could be Z here to favor that side, and Z there to favor that one, that one, that one. We're kind of flipping our Z's and our Y's a little bit, which is okay. And let's look here, do a little bit of rotate Y there, and Y there, there, and then back again. Oh, we're going to get built in there. Okay. Now let's even that up a little bit more. Yeah, let's check that out now. There we go. Feels a little better. And now let's do some rotate. And let's rotate those back a little bit here, and down a little bit there, back, down, back, down, back, down, back, down. And again with this, I don't want to do too much, so let's scale it back and make sure it's fairly even. Then we're going to offset the chest with this as well. And let's see here. Grab the back. You know what I haven't done? I haven't saved my file in a little while, so it's good to save that. It's always good to save multiple versions and to save often. And let's look at our rotate X here. Let's go down a little bit there, back a little bit, down a little bit, back a little bit. And this will just add a little bit more looseness in the kind of swash and stretch or curvature of the belly there if we do this right. So we can get a little more bounciness and looseness in there. And again, we want to kind of keep this to a minimum and just make sure that it's really offsetting with the hips. We don't really want a seesaw tilt action here. We just want to do a little bit of complementary offsetting. That's it sounds like an oxymoron. So let's see. See, then we get that little bit of bounce and squishiness in the belly there. Okay, so let's go ahead and make the feet a little more interesting. Let's go drag that foot back. Let's go a little bit up and then zero that out. And we'll drag it back there, a little bit up, and then zero it out. So let's look at that now. Let's push that one frame closer. I just want to feel like there is that feels a little better. You feel like there's really contact now. Whereas this one feels like there's a frame here where it's just kind of sliding on the ground but not really contacting it. So let's push that back a frame. Zero it out there. Normally I would do that with the toe controller, but it doesn't appear that we actually have a toe controller to break up the shape of the foot, which is unfortunate, but I think it'll still work. Okay, and let's look at the other side here. And let's go ahead and drag that back there, lift it up here, and zero it out here, and drag it back there, lift it up here, and zero it out there, and drag it back there, and lift it up. Let's kind of clean that up a little more. And let's go ahead and watch it now. can feel like there's a little bit of heel toe touch on the foot. For some reason I thought I saw a weird glitch in the hands, but I think we're still doing alright. Let's go ahead and save our file again. And let's do some more interesting stuff with the hands. So for this one, I think we'll go rotate it. Actually, before we go too far, let's go ahead and just rekey everything just to make sure. Go in, go out, touch, drag it in, drag it out, drag it back, push it forward, and land. So let's go ahead and see how that plays. I think that first translate feels a little too far, so let's see. Yeah, it's just that first one. I think it's still a translate Z here. I've got to be able to pull it back a little bit more. Now I got to watch this to make sure it doesn't, see, like right there, it'd be stepping on it. So I got to pull this foot back a little bit more still here. Okay. And I think the rotate here might be a little too exaggerated. Let's maybe pull it that way. Maybe give me one more frame to get in there with the rotation. Not necessarily the translation, but with the rotation, so you get a little bit of slippage in there. Okay, and let's go ahead and look at the other side here. I think we're just going to flip our camera around as well. And again, I just want to go in and rekey all my main keys just in case. And drag that back there. Lift it up there. Drag it back there. Push it forward there. And one more frame to get in there. I think I pushed that back when I didn't need to. Yeah, that feels a little better. I think we might be a little too much rotate back. We'll go somewhere more like that. Because you still have fingers and stuff to consider, so let's do something a little more. Okay, now let's go ahead and do the fingers here. And for fingers, I want to key that, and that, there, there, there. Okay, and then at 5, let's go ahead and drag my hand out. index down. Do I like that or not? I think that might just be too much. And give me one more frame until I hit there too. Okay, and then go ahead and drag them out there, curl them in, and go back, and go a little bit less, and then our last one, let's drag them out there, and curl them in here. Let's go ahead and see that now. Okay, and then we'll take the index curl and we'll push it forward a frame, and the little curl and we'll push it back a frame. Let's go ahead and look at it now. Just so we get a little bit of looseness there. And then our thumb. Let's see. And let's scale that back to just a little bit. So we've got 8, 18, and 28, 38, and 48. Bring it back. Maybe do a little bit more there. Feels a little too slow, so let's push it forward a frame. And let's go the other direction. Just to add a little bit of looseness in that thumb. Okay. So we're going to do the other hand and then the head, and I think that'll be good for today. So let's go ahead and again set that. Set that and go 20, set 22, 30, and set 40, 42, 50. Okay. So at 5, let's let the hand drag down. And we'll curl it up. Go back and we'll take that a frame. At 35, we'll drag it down. We'll curl it up. And we'll go back. Okay. So let's go ahead and see that now. Okay. And then while I'm on the case, let's do that one there, and that there. And I'm just gonna do this and do it in the graph editor on this one instead. So I felt like this thumb controller was a little too sensitive, so I'm not gonna worry too much about that. Just to add a little bit of life in there. We got 17, we got 27, then we got 37, 47, and the last one. Okay. Yeah, maybe a little more in there. Feels like it's a little too minimal of movement, and it's just holding there. Okay, and now we'll take the index and we'll push that forward a frame, and the little, and we'll push it back a frame. Now let's look at it now. And the head's a little too wobbly for me right now, so let's look at the neck. Let's look at it from straight on. There. so it's focused forward a little bit more than shifting so much. Let's go and see it now. Feels a little better. And then 5. Probably do less rotate Y. Still a little bit. So let's see that now. Yeah, let's look at the rotate Z. Let's clean that up a little bit more, see if we need more of it or less of it. It still feels like it's still a little more wobbly than I'd like. I don't want to keep the movement on the chest and everything, so let's see. And then let's take the head and we'll go ahead and do a little bit of rotate Z there. And we'll just do a little bit of that. Not a lot. Maybe delay it a frame too so we can just get some. Let's try flipping it, doing the inverse there. Delay a frame. Okay, and let's look, is this the jaw? Do a little bit of jaw drag. There. Got enough on the head that I'm not really going to do a bounce on the head, but I will do a little bit on the jaw. And we'll do a blink, I think, too. So let's see. Okay, so set that. Oh, that's the mouth, I guess. Okay. All in one eye controller, it's fine. Oh, this is the eyebrow. Okay. Left eye, close. So open it up there. Close it there. So we don't have a. That's the eyebrow, right? Okay. Open it back up again. And keep it again. So let's look at left and right eye closed. We don't have a bottom lid, we just have the top there. Let's keep it closed for a couple of frames there. So just doing a little bit of a blink here. Take 47, pull that, just so we have that little bit of overshoot and rest there. Set that there, so we have a little bit of movement in the beginning, and we overshoot up. Close down, hold for a couple of frames, and overshoot up and rest again. And let's look at the eyebrow, which was, what do they call it? LE up and down. Up there. Down there. Up there. And back again. just so you get that bounce in the. So let's see. I think it's probably just too much, so I'll tone it down a little bit more. Just want a little bit of liveliness or looseness in that. I think we can probably go one more frame here. As it opens up, it was just a little too quick, I think, in there. Alright, so I think that'll do it for today. End up working out okay. Would like a little bit more control over those fingers, but I think we managed to get something usable out of there. And let's take a look back at where we started. We were looking at the beautiful work of Tom Grindberg, and he said, "Always follow your dreams no matter what." It's a great quote. Not much I can add to that one. Just try and apply it to your life when and where you can, each and every day. Continue, I hope, each and every day that you're pushing forward and trying to take another step in your journey. I love you guys lots. If you're watching this, you guys are the creative future. Never give up. And I guess that'll do it for today. So we'll see you for some more animation tomorrow.